My coworker has been sabotaging my projects for months. The evidence I presented at the company meeting left everyone speechless. I, 34M, knew something wasn't right for months, but I couldn't prove it. The project files going missing. The emails that were never received. Client feedback that was completely different from what they'd told me directly. I'd been with the marketing agency for 5 years with nothing but positive reviews until 6 months ago, when suddenly I couldn't seem to do anything right. It started small. A missing attachment here. A delayed response there. But over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. My projects were consistently running into issues that I couldn't explain, and my reputation was taking the hit. The turning point came when I lost a major account, one I'd personally brought to the agency 3 years ago. The client called me directly, confused about why we'd completely ignored their feedback on the latest campaign. According to them, they'd sent detailed notes weeks ago, but somehow those notes never reached me. Instead, I'd been working with updated guidelines that my team lead had forwarded, guidelines that contradicted everything the client actually wanted. That night, I stayed late at the office, digging through email logs and project management software. What I found made my stomach drop. Someone had been systematically altering my work, changing delivery dates, and accidentally deleting key files right before deadlines. And all roads led to one person, my coworker who joined the team 8 months ago. We'd never gotten along great, but I hadn't realized just how deep the animosity ran. This person had been hired at the same level as me despite having less experience, and rumor had it they were gunning for the senior position that was opening up next quarter, the same position I'd been working toward for years. I needed hard evidence, so I set a trap. I created a dummy project with a fake deadline and intentionally left certain permissions open. Then I watched and waited. Within 2 days, timestamps showed this coworker had accessed the files, changed key elements, and pushed the deadline up by 3 days, ensuring I would miss it. But the most damning evidence came from IT. After explaining my suspicions, they helped me review the login data from my account. Someone had been accessing my email and files using my credentials from a company computer that wasn't mine, at times when I wasn't even in the office. And the access points all matched my coworker's schedule perfectly. For 3 weeks, I gathered evidence. Screenshots, timestamps, email headers, login records. I compiled everything into a detailed report, making sure I had backup copies stored securely away from work. I wasn't just going to defend myself. I was going to expose what had been happening. The quarterly review meeting seemed like the perfect opportunity. The whole team would be there, including upper management. I hadn't said a word to anyone about what I'd discovered. My coworker had been increasingly smug as my performance issues continued to mount, even making comments about how some people just can't handle the pressure. The meeting started with the usual updates. When it came time to discuss ongoing challenges, my manager brought up my concerning pattern of missed deadlines and communication errors. I could see my coworker trying to hide a smile. That's when I asked if I could share my screen for a few minutes. I think there's been a misunderstanding about the source of these issues, I said, pulling up my first slide of evidence. I've been investigating some irregularities and found something concerning that affects the whole team. For the next 15 minutes, the room was completely silent as I methodically laid out everything I'd discovered. The unauthorized access to my accounts, the deliberately altered files, the manipulated communication with clients, the timestamps that proved it couldn't have been me, and most importantly, the digital trail that led directly to my coworker. I finished my presentation and looked up. My coworker's face had gone completely white. My manager was staring open-mouthed between the screen and the person who'd been sabotaging me. The department head was furiously taking notes. "These are serious allegations," the department head finally said. "We'll need to continue this discussion privately with HR immediately." My coworker suddenly stood up, knocking over their chair. "This is ridiculous. You're just trying to cover for your own incompetence." But their voice was shaking, and everyone could see the panic in their eyes. They were escorted to HR while I was asked to wait in my manager's office. 2 hours later, my manager and the department head joined me, both looking grim. "We've verified your evidence with IT," my manager said. "And there's more they found once they knew what to look for. I can't tell you how sorry I am that this went on for so long without us realizing." The aftermath was swift. My coworker was terminated immediately. The company instituted new security protocols to prevent similar sabotage in the future. I was given a formal apology, and the clients who'd been affected were contacted personally by the CEO to explain the situation. The strangest part came 3 days later, when I received a lengthy email from my former coworker. No accusations this time, just a rambling explanation about feeling inadequate and threatened by my experience. They claimed they'd only intended to level the playing field at first, but then couldn't stop as things escalated. They'd convinced themselves I was somehow the villain who deserved it. The senior position I'd been working toward? I got it, along with a significant raise as compensation for what I'd endured. But the trust that had been broken took longer to repair. For weeks, I double-checked everything and was hesitant to collaborate fully with others. 6 months have passed now. The agency has recovered, and I've finally stopped looking over my shoulder digitally. But this experience taught me something valuable. Document everything. Trust your instincts when something feels off, and never underestimate what insecurity and jealousy can drive people to do. Sometimes the most dangerous threats aren't the obvious enemies, but the smiling faces sitting at the desk across from yours.